This is Zack from Goatwhore, and you're listening to the FANTASM Podcast.
Phantasm.
Maximum terror.
That's your target audience, baby!
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Phantasm.
Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal! Sell the metal!
Phantasm.
Hey, this is Dr. Vincent West, medical doctor with the FANTASM Podcast, and I have my drummer from the drummer from my favorite band today. We've got Zack from Goatwhore, and we're going to be talking about their new album, Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven, which comes out October 7th from Metal Blade Records. Zack, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate your time. You guys have been doing a ton of touring. Lots of stuff and getting back out there, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
This record, let's talk about this record. So tell me a little bit about the recording process for this album.
Oh man, the recording process, we actually recorded it in Bogalusa, Louisiana, which is maybe like an hour north of New Orleans. So
okay.
It's pretty close for us. In the studio itself, it's called Studio in the Country. And I mean, Kansas recorded all their big, huge records back in the 70s.
It's amazing.
Cinderella did a Heartbreak Station. Just a lot of big, blues, jazz, New Orleans artists and stuff. But super comfortable studio. The whole environment was just a perfect place to work on a record. We lived on the property, so it was a five-bedroom house. On the property, so you're just immersed in the work and the project the whole time, and it's the best place to have no outside distractions. So yeah, I think it really played into us being able to focus and do the best we could with this album.
Now, producer wise, did y'all stick with the same this time?
Sort of, yeah. So engineering, we had Jared Pritchard in there again, which he worked on Vengeful Ascension with
nice.
us. And he was our long time live sound man as well. So, we're just very comfortable with him, and he knows what's, how to, how we want to sound and how we should sound. So he's just very easy to, help, get everything to where it needs to be. And also he's good at pushing us performance-wise too, to, get the best takes out of us. And then from there, we sent it to Kurt Ballou to mix. And man, we always really wanted to work with Kurt because, we're all fans of, other records, other bands he's worked with.
Sure.
And we thought, man, it would be killer to have, Jared capture everything, just in the studio, and then have it a separate set of ears on it to mix, you know what I mean? And we were blown away by what Kurt did with the record, and mastering too. Everything seemed to work out really well.
Yeah.
The result.
It's killer. I love when you guys worked with Rutan on so many records.
Me too, man.
Yeah, it's such a great guy, and I love your old stuff. Yeah, the new record's very sonically pleasing. It's great songs too. Let's jump right into this thing. What can you tell us about the opener here, the intro, the Invocation 3?
Sammy came up with that, and he put that together, and I guess the only other intro to a record that Goatwhore has is the second record, Penal Dirge, has a similar kind of intro before the actual music gets going. But it was a cool change, from a stretch of records that didn't have something like that.
Sure.
And it kind of sets the tone for the Born of Satan's Flesh just coming in and ripping flesh, straight off the bat. So I think it was cool, man.
Absolutely. And speaking of that track, what can you tell us about Born of Satan's Flesh, track 2?
Oh man, might have been one of the first we actually kind of started writing for the record. Or it might have been one of the first that we actually came together, as a cohesive song, like that we kind of finished and we're confident with early on. But for the first song on a record, I think it comes out fucking swinging. It's fast, chaotic, and it really has something to say. Your first track, especially after not having a record out in 5 years, you wanted something that really, came out swinging and was vicious. I think that it serves that purpose.
Absolutely, it does. And then track 3, the Bestowal of Abomination.
Yeah, that one's, kind of, it's back into that kind of mid-tempo Goatwhore groove. We have like I don't know, I think we operate pretty well within that kind of tempo and feel as well. So it's kind of, gives you a break after the nonstop, speed and all the hectic changes that One of Satan's Flesh has. For the third track, the second musical track on the record, I think that is kind of a nice change of pace. And within the whole record, there's a lot of ups and downs, and we're good at doing a lot of different styles and combining things. So it's good to have everything kind of showcased at some point in a record.
Absolutely. It's a great track. Love the title for that one. And then let's see track 4, the title track, "Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven."
Yeah, that's, I guess, man. There's a video dropping for that on release day.
Nice.
As well, we did a video for that song too, and I guess that would be probably like the most maybe melodic song on the record.
Sure.
In a way, it's kind of like it's driving and feel, but it's got a little melody to it, and it's like a melancholy kind of tone to the song, but it's definitely, I feel, man, that one's going to be really fun to play live, and I think the video will be a nice accompaniment to the song as well. I think that's going to turn out really cool. So, yeah, it's maybe a little different for us, but it just felt so natural writing it, and it just felt good, man.
Nice, excellent. And then track 5, "Death from Above."
Yeah, we I guess that was released as a single a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And yeah, that's, just a straight to the throat, kind of no frills, just a kind of punky thrash song, and it's another thing that we're, it's easy for us to just put together, I remember that song just kind of came together. It's one of those that just happened so quick, and it's like, all right, don't touch it. It's good.
Sure. It's a great track. It's a really great track. And let's see, track 6, "Ruinous Liturgy."
Yeah, that's another one. I think it might have been one of the first we were working on for the record too.
Okay.
And I remember when we were in the studio and hearing what Ben was working on and coming up with lyrically and vocally, damn, I remember being in the control room and hearing him hearing his vocals come together for that song. And I was like, God damn, he never ceases to impress me about with what he's able to come up with lyrically and vocally, and him and Jarrett really working hard on all right, let's double this part.
Sure.
Just cool little things, man, on that. It's really cool to just sit back and watch. But yeah, that was one of the songs I remember being in the control room, listening to it all come together. It's a cool thing to watch happen,
Absolutely. And any of these tracks, before we continue, have y'all played any of this stuff live yet?
We've only played One of Satan's Flesh live on the most recent. We did a co-headline tour with Incantation, and One of Satan's Flesh came out like maybe a week before we started the tour. So we played that song for the whole tour, and went over great, man. It's fun to start adding some new material in the set after.
Oh, sure.
I guess it's just fun to play live in general after having a long forced break. But yeah, it's good to introduce some new material into the set, and that's definitely a fun one to play live, definitely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And continuing on with the record, track 7, Victory is the Lightning of Destruction.
Yeah, let me... Yeah, so that one, it's kind of like kind of like a more punky feel in the beginning, and then it definitely like picks up towards the end, and a lot of cool band moments, a lot of cool Sammy moments. Sammy, this whole record is just obviously it's what Sammy does, just packed chock full of killer riffs.
It's amazing.
I feel like on this song, it was fun kind of working on the drums for this song. There's a lot of like cool little fills that I wanted to include, but it's kind of tough for me. It's all right, I want to fit this in there without like, I don't want to put it in there if it's just not going to fit, but I wanted to slip like certain things in there that I was able to do, like I feel like tastefully without taking away from the song.
Sure.
But especially towards the end, there's some cool little fills that I was able to add in there. And yeah, I kind of liked how, I guess when we started working on it, I don't think any of us were like, maybe this one wouldn't make the record or something, but like once everybody had their time with it.
Sure.
All the vocals were done, said and done on it, and everything, it totally like changed my mind about the song. And I was like, God damn, like it's amazing how your opinion can change once, everything is
it's all done.
They put their input on it. So definitely the finished product like definitely blew my mind. It was cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah, the record is so many cool fills and everything from you guys. It's such a, I love when y'all put stuff out. It's so exciting for me as a fan.
Nice.
Let's see, track 8, Voracious Blood Fixation.
I remember before we went in the studio, I was just working on my parts, working out parts. Like, I get really fucking anal and nerdy about it. Like, I chart out my parts and everything.
Sure.
Kind of mapped out and stuff.
Of course.
And man, for this song, I was really trying to come up with some cool patterns and work just drum-wise, and for a while, it kind of stumped me because I'm like, man, I don't want to just come up with these whatever, like cliche, just take the easy way out, like, with the drum parts or whatever. So I tried to come up with some cool little unique patterns that made it unique instead of just kind of throwing it in, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I think we were able to make it interesting on the drum front, and then everything else too. I think that's going to be a fun one. I think all these songs are going to be fun to play live. I'm just stoked that we have a record coming out. I'm still just excited about the whole thing, and yeah, that's definitely going to be a fun one to play live too. It's got that kind of 3/4/6/8 kind of triplet groove going, and it's a good kind of bouncing feel for a heavy metal song,
Oh yeah, it's killer, man. This record's so good. What about track 9, The Devil's Warlords?
That's another blazer, man. It's pretty fast one. I think it's probably along the lines of intensity, maybe as Blood on Satan's Claw. A lot
right.
of kind of frantic in the just the arrangement of the song as far as riffs, and then also when it came to the drum parts, there's a lot of parts I had to like rack my brain about trying to do something a little off the wall but still make it cohesive, still make it cool and interesting without just doing whatever might just be normal or stock sounding.
Of course.
I always challenge myself to not come up with like stock metal drum parts. I want to come up with something interesting, but also it makes sense in like a pattern kind of way. I don't know, I'm just really, I strive for for that, just having something interesting that kind of makes sense, that can repeat in a different fashion, in kind of an A/B style. But aside from that, lyrically, vocally, some of Ben's, I think, best vocal performance on the record too. It's a pretty brutal song, and definitely kind of picks up the pace towards the end of the record for sure.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to hear that one live. That one's going to be nuts. Let's see if y'all play it. It would be cool. I think this record's so good. Let's see, track 10, "Weight of a Soulless Heart."
Yeah, that's a kind of unique one. When we were writing this one, I remember kind of thinking of it like, man, it has a lot of kind of like a Voivod vibe to it.
Oh yeah,
dissonant kind of feel with the note choices and stuff, and then just a kind of disjointed feel that kind of makes just kind of like an awkward sounding, somber, hopeless vibe. And some of the middle parts, and then towards the middle of the song, it's just kind of like churning, almost kind of like Sammy was unleashing his kind of sludge roots in the riffs and parts, which I think is cool, and it adds another dimension to the record as far as our material being cohesive, and the format of all the songs are on the same record, but every song's got its own personality and vibe to it, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's ever since the last record, which the last record threw me the first time I listened to it, but I liked that because the more I listened to it, the more I liked it. This new one, it's so interesting. I love listening to what you guys come up with when you put an album out. It's always very exciting for me. I can't say so much. It sounds repetitive, but it's true. It's very exciting. What about track 11, Nile?
Man, personally, I think this might be one of my favorites on the record. I like its placement as far as being towards the end, and it's definitely the last kind of upbeat song of the record, and it's just kind of what I like. The certain bands, I like just the quick in and out, kind of simpler, just no frills tracks. That's kind of what it is to me. It just gets in, kicks your ass, and then it dips out without kind of overstaying its welcome. And there's definitely every time I listen to it, it's fun. Also, it's fun song to play on drums. Sammy's riffs are killing it. Every time I listen to it, there's a couple Ben lyrics that just get stuck in my head, and I think that'll be fun to play live, because once people kind of get familiar with these songs, it's definitely some sing along kind of some parts in there. But fun song to play, and definitely one that I'm going to be pushing to play on the road for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, I would love to hear this whole album in its entirety. It's so great, man. I can't wait for people to hear it and their reactions, like I did.
Man.
Yeah, it's so killer. And then the final track, and what a title again. And I was delivered from the wound of perdition.
Yeah, this song definitely is. There was no question. It was like, yes, that's an album closer. You know what I mean? It's got that. It came together so quick, and so it was one of those songs. It was a no-brainer. Sammy came up with that kind of haunting acoustic intro, and everything about the song, writing it, and its whole conception was so natural. It was almost like it was like being channeled through us or something.
Right.
But it's the way it came out on the record too. I think people are going to be surprised by it. And hopefully, they'll enjoy it as much as we ended up being surprised by it and enjoying it. But it's an epic, pretty epic tune. And then you got a twist and turn at the end where we got little kind of. We call it like a caveman black metal part. It does that whole section, then returns back to the epic thing to close out the record, and yeah, I think it's going to surprise some people, hopefully in a good way.
I love the last album, but you guys have outdone yourself with this one. It's unbelievable.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
As far as from the last album to this album, did you switch a lot drum-wise, recording process for this record?
Actually, no. Same drum kit I used on Vengeful. I think I used a different. I did play around with a couple different snare drums. I really wanted to get the best snare sound that I've had on the record. So
it's crisp. It sounds great.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we went with just this really heavy Pearl reference brass snare on this record. Really experimented with the tuning, getting the tuning right on it. I think the previous record used a steel version of the same snare, but the brass really it's got the crack and that nice body to it. So just little minor changes that for me just kind of come with trial and error, and just kind of finding what works and tuning them, the best way that works with my playing and the style of drums they are. And then I kind of let Jared, he had a bunch of different room mics because he wanted to present, when it was time to give these tracks to Kurt to mix, he wanted to have, every little option that Kurt would want, so we had several different room mics going on. We had mic, top and bottom of the toms, we did all sorts of just extra stuff. So Kurt wanted to use whatever he had the option, you know what I mean? So, and I couldn't be more happy with what Kurt was able to do, because even just the raw tracks, listening back to them, they sound fucking amazing. So if you have a good starting point like that, it's pretty rare that someone's gonna take it in the other direction,
Well, let me ask you this: the drumming, the production, everything is just it's a great, solid product from you guys. I mean, God, it's so good. It's just a beautiful work of art. What can you tell us about the artwork for this album?
Well, the art, there's once again Jordan Barlow, our good friend, who's he's from the last 3 Goatwhore records.
Nice.
The artwork. He's done like countless, merch, t-shirt designs and stuff. Really good friend of ours. He's, worked on, he's a tattoo artist as well, so he's done a lot of our tattoos over the years, and just a good dude in general. And Ben will always have like a really cool concept, and he'll basically just kind of throw like a loose idea of the concept to Jordan and just let Jordan run with it, because we have that kind of trust with him, and Jordan will, come back with something that totally encompasses what Ben was thinking, but like totally it's above and beyond. He knocks it out of the park, and the artwork with this, within its kind of simplicity and the sigils being more, incorporated once again, and it's just like a blunt kind of, the cover art is blunt and simple, but direct and to the point. But also, the rest of our work on the record too, it all plays into the main idea, I think it's cool. And if you notice too, the cover didn't have the band logo, which it just has the sigil of the band name, and like Metal Blade. I don't think they were very stoked on that, but I think it's a cool idea. Just
No, it's a great idea. The artwork's amazing.
Not a lot of bands are comfortable with not having their name huge on the front of their record.
I mean,
I think it's cool.
Oh, it's very, very cool. I wanted to tell you too, the live feed you guys did during COVID.
Oh yeah, that was fun, man.
Dude, it was so awesome, and I haven't, because of my health conditions, I haven't got to come out to a show and see you guys in a long time. But what a treat that was when you guys did that. So thank you so much for that. It was so cool.
Thanks for enjoying it, man. I'm glad we were able to do it. And I remember, we were tossing around the idea about doing a live stream, and at first we're like, all right, well, let's do it in our practice room or something. But I'm glad that we got with Jarrett, and then he's like, dude, if you guys are going to do this, let's do it the right way. Come down to Florida. There was, just a whole studio set up, just like a the cameraman and the whole deal had like a full production behind it. And I think it turned out killer, man. We were able to bring out some songs that we haven't played live in a long time, and I forget how many songs we did for it, but it was shit, almost like 20 songs, something like that. But
it was great.
Really cool,
dude. I
was happy with it, man.
It was such for me, especially since I can't get out as much as I used to with all the COVID nonsense and whatnot. It was a real treat to watch that. So it was really cool to see. Yeah, it was amazing. So and then
it was fun to do too, because we weren't able to. We were still writing and working on these songs for this record, but it was nice to take a break from that. Kind of go play a show.
Oh yeah,
get in the van, pack our shit up, and go somewhere. It was fun.
Yeah, it was great. It was the live stream was fabulous. Hopefully, I'll never have to do it again, but I loved it. I thought it was wonderful.
We still have all that footage too, so hopefully we release it as like a bonus thing, or
man, maybe a Blu-ray of it or something. That'd be awesome. And then as far as any touring stuff you want to mention that's you want to talk about before I let you go?
For sure, man. Next thing we got on the books is heading back to Europe, January, February of 23, and we're stoked to be doing it with Revocation, good friends of ours.
Nice.
And they just have a killer new record coming out, and ours is coming out. So I think by that time, heading back to Europe, we haven't been over there probably 4 years.
Oh wow!
So both of our records will have had time to kind of marinate with people. By the time we go over there and fully start playing all these songs live, people will hopefully be familiar with the songs, and then a lot full on touring back in the U.S. I think we might have some stuff coming up in the U.S. before the end of the year, but nothing like too extensive, because basically since April we've played 76 shows.
Oh wow!
In the U.S., been burning it pretty hard. So gonna kind of let the record come out, people get familiar with it, and then be full on again, But just stoked to have a record coming out, and then have this whole cycle start up again, man. And it's funny because Sammy and I are already working on new shit already. So so it definitely won't be another 5 years for the next record.
Well, dude, it was worth the wait. Angels Hung from the Arches of Heaven from the best band in the world, Goatwhore, comes out October 7th from Metal Blade Records. Dude, it is a masterpiece. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Our listeners know I'm a huge fan, so like I said, maybe we can do this in person on a show sometime. I'll slip out of my vault, out of my tomb, and come out and see Goatwhore, and we'll hang out.
Right on, man. I look forward to that.
Awesome, dude. Well, look, I really appreciate your time today.
Oh, man, thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for doing this. Again, tell the guys I said hi, and it's such a pleasure getting to do this with you.
Likewise, man.
Phantasm.
And you know something? I sort of enjoyed it.
Phantasm.